Hi, how are you doing? This is Pastor Cheryl. We are all the way up to John 13 and going through it. And we are to verse 36. Peter's denial predicted. Lord, Simon Peter said to him, "Where are you going?" Jesus answered, "Where am I going? You cannot follow me now, but you will follow later." "Lord," Peter asked, "why can't I follow you now? I will lay down my life for you." Jesus replied, "Will you lay down your life for me? Truly, I tell you, a rooster will not crow until you have denied me 3 times. I remember reading this when I was a kid and kind of wondered about it. It talks about, Peter's enthusiasm to follow Christ and his devotion to Christ, his teacher and best friend, but it also speaks about, Christ's forgiveness when we get into chapter 21. And he forgave him for, denying him 3 times out of fear, weakness, fear. And so, and you think, when, how many times has something like this happened to you where you became fearful and, oh no, I don't know anything about it. Do you remember Hogan's Heroes on TV? We used to watch that when I was a kid. And they sometimes would question Schultz, the heavy-set guard. And he would go, "I know nothing, I know nothing, I know nothing." Remember that? He's denying him. He just doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't know, because he doesn't want to get in trouble. And because Hogan and his buddies were always up to some mischief and doing something, and their friend Schultz was always a witness, and then all of a sudden he knows nothing. And so, but this gets into that, and the way to the Father, chapter 14. Way to the Father. Don't let your heart be troubled. Believe in God. Believe in me. In my Father's house there are many rooms. If it were not so, would I have told you that I am going to prepare a place for you? If I go away and prepare a place for you, I will come again and take you to myself. So that is where I am. You may be also. You know the way to where I am going. You know the way to where I am going. Lord, Thomas said, I don't know where you're going. How can we know the way? Jesus told him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. If you know me, you will also know my Father, whom now on you do know him and have seen him. From now on you do know him and have seen him. Sometimes these direct translations are a little awkward. This kind of reminds me, and we get these prophets on YouTube all the time, where they have these visions, and with these, and then they, God speaks to them, and they're not the only people this happens to. This is a very human experience, having visions and dreams. I really don't dream, but now and then I'll have a dream that's remarkable, and I'll remember that one. But I most generally don't dream. My dreams consist of music. I wake up hearing music, and I'm wondering, maybe it's one of these fillings in my teeth that's, catching the airwaves, and it's beginning to play the music in my ear from one of these metal fillings. That happens, yeah. But anyway, I had an interesting dream a number of years ago, about 20 years ago. And I saw my house in heaven. I did. Here it talks about, Christ is going to go and prepare a place for you. And there's a place, there's a lovely house waiting for me up there for when I get there. And it's a Queen Anne. It's in between two mountain ranges. It's in between two of them. And there's this big valley in between it. And makes a very nice lawn for the dogs to play. And I've had dogs my whole life, and I'll have them back when I get there. And it's a big Queen Anne with a turret up the side. And it was painted a dark blue, not navy, but kind of a soft antique dark blue with maroon trim. Where those colors came from, I don't know, because I was painting some of the trim of the house like those colors. If you go to Sherwin-Williams and ask them for, paint that no one bought because it's called mist tint paint. It used to be $1 for a gallon of mist tint paint, and you could get indoor or outdoor. And I remember bringing home this paint thinking like, what? For a couple bucks I got all this paint, And I did a lot of arts and crafts. And so I painted the doors in the front of the house, which were pretty bad, scuffed up. I lived in an up-down duplex, and the paint on the front door was maroon, but real thin, and you could see it was white underneath. The landlord didn't take very good care of the place. He tried, but, I would have made the door a front door. It's an impression thing. If you have a nice front door, it's an impression thing. You go open it up just so your guests come in and say, oh, what a lovely place. But it had hardwood floors, my house in heaven. And they were like brand new. It was an antique house, but it was like brand new. And kind of a honey colored, it was oak. There were oak floors. And my furniture was there, all antiques. They also looked brand new. And the whole house looked like it was just built yesterday. But it was an antique house. I had these big, heavy, dark navy blue velvet or dark green velvet drapes, and they were parted just a little bit because it was intensely bright outside. It was just blinding light. And come inside, it was lovely, and I remember going up to my bedroom, and my bedroom set was there. All my furniture was there. And I crawled in my bed. I was like sleepwalking. Eyes were kind of like half asleep, but I was sleepwalking. I crawled in, and there was a little dog in bed with me that had died years before. She was waiting for me. My little dog was waiting for me in heaven. Crystal. Her name was Crystal. It's a pretty white toy poodle. We went through a series, my family did, of toy poodles. We loved our little poodles. And my sister kind of parted from the tradition of toy poodles, and she got a standard poodle. Kramer, after a bad hair day, he was quite the man. He guarded her house. The kids were not allergic to him. He was a really, really nice dog. But I remember crawling in bed in heaven, and my little dog Crystal was right there. Saw a little pink ear stick up over the top of the blankets there. It was her. So I have someone wait for me when I get there. Oops. There we go. There we go. And so, anyway, that's kind of a little story that I can mix in with that. He says, you don't know where you're going. Okay. I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. We hear that over and over again. All that. We know what this means. I don't have to tell you. And no one comes to the Father except through me. We know what that means. You have to accept Christ as your personal Savior. When you get to know God, you get to know Him. You get to know Him. God the Father. I just talk to God the Father all the time. I live alone. I'm kind of a shut-in. And so I just talk to God. You know, hi, how are you doing up there? How you doing? It's a nice day out. I really appreciate a nice day. Or, oh, we're getting rain today. Well, isn't that nice? We need rain. We needed it. And so that my flowers will grow. So God likes hearing from you. He would like to hear from you too. Just talk away. Talk to Him. He loves hearing from His kids. But anyway, we are homily here. It's usually 10 minutes. We're getting a little over that. It's now 11 minutes. And it'll take about 6 hours to load this up into YouTube. So I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.